Okay, hello everyone. My name is Andres Diaz, uh, or Pop Culture Guide. That's my nickname for this channel. Me and my co-host John. Hello, John. How you
Hello.
doing?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. We came back again to do another special podcast. A good movie, finally. I mean, after that, another
Bedtime
one.
stories. We're talking about bedtime stories now.
No, please, no. I don't want to see Beth. No more Adam Sandler, please. Go again. Only
You're right.
anger management.
Yeah, it
Anger
was.
management.
We're talking about Happy Gilmore today.
Yeah. I I love that movie. There's jokes I can enjoy. Happy Gilmore. That's a
Yeah.
fun movie. I love it. Today we're discussing Coco, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're talking about Coco. This is the Pixar film that came out in 2017, same year as Cars 3 for some bizarre reason. Um, but yeah, so just to get in, what's your relation with Pixar, and is this movie high in your rank in terms of best Pixar films?
I mean, I grew up on Pixar movies, so I love them. In terms of where does this fall? So I watched it not long after our last conversation. I think it was
Mm,
the next day or something like that. That was that was a great movie. That was pretty great.
yeah.
Um, I'd say it's pretty high up there because it's not like part of a franchise, like Toy Story. I mean, those the great movie, but it's
Mhm.
nice to have this separate, you know. I mean, in comparison to the other ones, what were some of the other ones? They did the emotions one, right?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. That was a good movie. I feel like this was better. This was like branching into I feel different
Oh
territory,
wow.
you know.
Huh. Yeah. Well, yeah. Especially in terms of Spanish culture, that was the thing I was
Hmm.
very intrigued about what they were gonna do with this. Like,
Hmm.
it wasn't aiming my culture, but
Yeah.
like in just the Mexican culture and Spanish, traditions in general, I was like very intrigued. And yeah, I think this was this is the time where Pixar was like having more misses than
Yeah.
hits. And so this one, I was like very surprised about this one. I saw this in theaters, and I was just
Yeah.
so shocked and surprised how good it was, and just
It's a
it
great
was
story. Great
yeah,
story. Great visualization, the colors and everything, incorporating that the Mexican style into it.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah. The Land of the Dead, probably the best one I seen. Uh, to
absolutely.
Yeah, I oh my god, yeah. This is my number three favorite after Inside Out and I think Up. As my Pixar films I love
Yeah,
the most. Um,
those are yeah. No, Up was a great one. I'd have to rewatch Inside Out. It has been a very long time since I saw that.
yeah.
Probably when it was in theaters.
Oh wow, you saw it in theaters. Okay, yeah. I saw it in TV, and then I was like, oh, let me try it because I just it was just like how they gonna do emotions as a movie, and then I
Right.
saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what they did. It
No, it
was good.
makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, this one was directed by the director. You brought up Toy Story. This director did a Toy Story 3, which I mean, one of the best third films of a trilogy. I don't know if that's your opinion, but I mean, it's one of the best third films I ever
That
seen.
was great. That was
Yeah,
a great movie.
yeah, and I was very happy that he came back to do another film, and this one, just like he right away just did such a good job of being character driven. The visuals were just awesome. Like it had a great theme and like a thematical crutch that was like relatable and you understood it throughout the movie. And then the characters were just all top notch. With the actors voicing them was just memorable.
Yeah.
Just and just the concept of the land of the dead, and spirits, and like we don't see that as often in animation films. So this was like, because we have supernatural movies in animation, but it's always usually in stop motion, or it's something that's just not straightforward like this is, where it's taking itself seriously, but it's.
Well, I think about even with like, especially with the risk of, I mean, probably the closest in my memory to the risk of a literal. death, but almost in an even more existential way than just physical death. Like is this memory
Yeah,
death?
yeah,
The closest thing that really comes to it is the end of Toy Story 3. You know, so it's
mm,
but through this is throughout. It's not like the surprise at the end of the movie where it's like they're tying into a dumpster fire, literally.
yeah.
And
Or
this, you,
or the opening of Finding Nemo, where the mom, Nemo's
mm,
mom gets killed by that like what is it, sharper shark or whatever you call it.
yeah, but that's off camera. You know, that's off
Yeah,
camera. It's kind of, and it's not really addressed after that first opening scene. I mean, they
yeah,
talk about that the mother's not there, obviously, but you
yeah,
know, it's different to have this threat of the main character. You could die here. You know, this is
yeah,
not great. And also the added, like the level of, it's not just death in the physical sense. It's not. It has to do with people forgetting you and dying in that way too.
yeah.
And I think
Um,
that's where the real weight of the movie comes in.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed. Well, one of the best things about this movie that I appreciate was the discussion of memories, and then not to like you don't have to forgive them, but like everyone should not be forgotten because of their mistakes. And that's something I really appreciate about this, and especially with the Hector character, which I
Mm.
feel like I like how when we open up all the layers to the character and what was going on, I appreciate more the themes more because you didn't know what was going on until the big twist. Which I gotta say, I was expecting the twist that Hector was Miguel's what grandfather, and
I wasn't either. I think it was. I thought it was just going to be like a lesson of your father is not the man, or the grandfather is not the man who you thought he was, kind of a thing. But it
yeah,
turned out he literally wasn't the person you thought he was.
yeah,
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. That could easily been like a gimmick, as always, and it could have fell flat, but this just did not. Like, I was so shocked it did it
no,
because, yeah, it's because like there were like hints that okay, this wasn't gonna be what you're expecting because I forgot was it immediately when you meet what is it the character Lala Cruz, the main villain, and then you didn't realize that the movies that he played, like typical Spanish actors doing scenes and songs, were actually what happened in real life, like heaven on earth. I did not expect that that was actually he say in real life towards Hector, poisoning him, just like those details impress me. Like that's how smart the film did to just
yeah,
lay those
yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, just beautiful and just um uh, I mean the twist I think you start to notice when he was talking about like oh you need to take your moment, uh, but then eh, when he doesn't bring up the family stuff, that's where you're like okay something's not really up, and especially when Hector comes into the him disguising as Frida, right? And then he starts saying how those two worked together before, and then like the whole just like that was like okay, so this is not like especially when Cruz sent Miguel towards that pit. It's like okay, he's not really the person that Miguel is looking for,
Right, right.
So yeah, and speaking of villains, I will say I think Lada Cruz is very probably the best Pixar villain we had. Um, or best Disney villain, whatever you want to call it. I thought he had a really interesting motivation. Like he's the typical celebrity person that wants to get attention, but he's taking someone's old talent to for their own advantage, which is something we do see a couple of times. Like jobs when you're in a position and you know so well, but then you don't get the recognition or you get used by the high ups and all that. And it's like this is such a good like real life example
Yeah,
in such a extreme and hyper reality. I think Cruz really represent that, and and I think, and this is where I you really truly love the film. Like of course, we get revealed how he died because of the bell falls to him, and then I love how the ending of the film, he gets from that creature, the spirit guide, cat, and then he throws him over to the side of the stadium, and then he gets stumped again by the ring bell, as he did,
Yeah.
as like that. For me was like, oh my god, that's so clever, and like perfect, like perfect payoff. That's the thing I like about movies. When you pay off something that's set up early, that
Hmm.
they know
And
when they're,
unexpected.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know,
exactly.
but I
Yeah,
think you hit a good point there about the like the villain, the nature of the villain. The nature of this guy
yeah,
was so, given that you don't really expect the plot twist that's coming your way,
hmm,
and then you find it out, and it's like, okay, how is he going to deal with it? Obviously, you have a good amount of movie left, so you're kind of wondering what's he about to do. Um,
yeah,
so the fact that he goes on to try to continue to cover it up, it's not just like, oh, he's found his dad, the struggle's over. It's now the guy who he thought, or is his grandfather, now the guy who he thought was his grandfather is not only trying to kill his grandfather, but kill him as well.
yeah,
It's just, and because of this threat of the death through people forgetting who you are. It's
yeah,
again, it's not this guy is already dead.
yeah,
So
yeah. And trying to keep one's reputation, like that's something else about this movie. They, discuss how like reputation. You think this reputation as it seems to be, but it's not really. And
yeah,
it's like sometimes you cannot listen to because you don't know all the facts, which is something that I appreciate about this movie. So yeah,
yeah,
and speaking of no, the character, let's kind of get into the main protagonist, Miguel.
yeah, yeah.
I really like Miguel. I think his character arc make a lot of sense. I like how, like he has to learn, family comes first, and then his ambitions has to come second. And I really appreciate that. Like he learned that organically. This is, the old classic, arc we see in characters. They have to learn that, their loved ones or family comes first, and that their ambitions or like their passion has to come second, foremost. And I think
Mhm.
this does a really good job of that, especially with a kid, because you could be in danger to giving your character, a kid protagonist, something like giving it away to them, not
Yeah.
learning the lesson. Here he does learn the lesson, and it's like he like broke this family curse by trying to like make the grandma to learn to remember, the father. And like it's such a sweet scene towards the end, like kills me every time I see that. Yeah, so I think Miguel is really great, and especially, he's like that new generation kid, with full of ambitions and all that. So I really like Miguel as a character.
He's very, very complete. He's a very empathetic person, but he's also, he's still a kid and he wants to make his himself known. And
Yeah,
it's not in
yeah,
like a weird kind of center, like egocentric. Well, it's a little egocentric, but you know, it's in a fulfilling way. It's also the music and the intertwining of the music into it too. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I agreed. I this one particularly does a good job of using music as a crutch in the film. You know how important music is because it
yeah,
reveals who you are as a person. You know, like
yeah,
I mean, of course, you and I have been discussing, or our friends discuss about the various artists and how their songs have a double meaning.
hmm
Like that artist we've been discussing. Was it Dan something? Um,
Stanley Dawn.
yeah, which we still haven't done a podcast with.
Hmm.
Um, you know, like his songs, like seem to be something that you think it is, but you don't know the double meaning of it. Like I didn't know those like deep, meanings as you told me one of our visits and hangouts. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, you got
and
to
just
dig
saying,
into these things. Music is always, I mean, music is so three-dimensional, you know.
yeah, yeah, and I like how it's like literally like that. Like we discover more the meaning of it when we discovered the twist. Like I like how Remember Me is not this like what is it like crowd pleaser. This is a song between a father and a daughter, longs away apart, and then like he's using his son to like tell her to keep remembering him while he's away. That's like so like perfect, just ironic payoff, for a song that weren't expecting, because you think this could be something else, but then it means something more, and I wasn't expecting that. Especially when he did the flashback with Remember Me, that like killed me. I was like, oh
Hmm.
my god.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's just trouble. Um, Speaking of the grandma, Coco, I like the theme, the title of this movie. Like
Mhm.
I don't know, I was so stupid because when I rewatched this movie today, I forgot that Miguel say Coco when we first meet the grandma.
Mhm.
Because when I first saw this in theaters, I was when Miguel and Hector were in the pool. That's where he realized Coco is his daughter. And when I initially reacted to that, I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." But then this recent viewing, I forgot the. Oh no, no, it was there from the beginning. It was just um, I like
Forget
this
about
type. Yeah, I don't know. It's because like the movie's so rapid. Like Miguel
it.
speaks
Mhm.
so fast, and it's like I can never catch right away what he's saying or like what's going on in the scene. But I really appreciate the title of this because it's really about Coco. Her and like how she is. The thing about this film. About family and like remember this person and like literally trying to keep memories together in your mind,
Mhm.
losing it, especially her, which is sad. And it just, I really liked how they named a character for the film. And I think that's really,
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's I guess it's the interesting thing is it's adding that layer of memory. You know, it's the memory of her. You know,
yeah,
it's not about Miguel. It's about
yeah,
remembering this person.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It's like, I appreciate those titles of films, because sometimes the film titles doesn't mean nothing,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's just like, I guess what like the good dinosaur, like what was that supposed to mean? Like I'm
Oh,
like,
let's forget the even older movie, Dinosaurs
oh
or
my
Dinosaurs.
god, dinosaurs. Oh my
You
god.
know, I mean, I feel like that got the message pretty well across. This is about dinosaurs, so
Yeah, yeah. Or was it like The Land Before Time? That's a good title. I mean,
that was those are some good things, though. Maybe we need a Land Before Time podcast.
oh my god, no. There's so many movies of that.
You'd have to like whittle it. You just have to do the first one. You wouldn't talk about anything. It's just too much after that.
Oh my god, yeah. Speaking of, like, I mean that killed me, especially when the mom died. Ugh,
Oh,
oh my god.
the tree
Um,
stars. The tree stars.
yeah. Oh my god. That. Oh, well, and you're speaking deaf, right? Like, Pixar. One of the things I appreciate about Pixar, they always trust their audience. Especially with the heavy subjects, and like, of course, brought up, Finding Nemo with the mom deaf, but also the Incredibles. That moment where Elastigirl talked to her kids about, the bad guys will kill you, like
Hmm.
in a very serious manner. And then, here I appreciate how, was it the afterlife is not the end of everyone. The afterlife is just another passing to another, you know place for those
Yeah,
people that's no longer
but
with us.
again, there is an ultimate end. You know, there's
Yeah,
still an ending.
yeah,
And that's what the fear is about.
yeah. Which Yeah, one of the things that I think what works for this film is the concept. Like the world building for this film is really good. Like I
Oh
like
yeah.
how like, okay, as your family continues your memories, your art's gonna live still,
Hmm.
past that. Like I really like that concept, and I like the concept of forgotten, where no one puts your picture, you're gonna be forgotten, and I really like that concept. Like I really like when we got to Hector's friend, who's gonna be forgotten. Like great way to show the stakes for for Hector right away,
Hmm.
and and the city. Oh my God, the city is just gorgeous to look at. Like the small details of it. It's just
Oh, it was very intricate, and again, the colors were out of this world. That was
oh
great.
yeah,
Especially the spirit guides.
yeah. Those are. I mean, those were like you. Speaking of Easter eggs, Miguel, you see those what do you call it, paper uh cutouts, and you see
Hmm.
those creatures before you see them in the land of the dead.
Oh
Well,
yeah, really?
yep, yep.
That's pretty
When
neat.
Yeah, and speaking of Finding Nemo, there's Easter eggs for those characters there. Yeah.
That's
So
good. It's a good way.
yeah. Oh yeah, Pixar is good with Easter eggs. Like, do you saw the ones with Toy Story when Miguel went to what do you call it, the plaza? Like, quick, you see Woody, Buzz, and the Monster Inc. characters, particularly Mike.
Yeah, I didn't
Is
see that. I didn't catch that. That's
Yeah,
good.
is right there. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, Woody Buzz is there. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those like you see when you go to markets, you see those toys hanging in the wires.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they're there. And then this is a cool one. I didn't realize this. In the Land of the Dead, when we visit there, there's a quick poster of a Land of the Dead Incredibles as them as
Hmm.
skeletons.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so great. Um, Yeah, and then the usual Easter eggs of Pixar, like the actor that's from Cheers and that voiced the Mr. Pig for Toy Story. He has a cameo here, which he does every movie.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Who was he
yeah,
this?
he was that guy, the chubby guy who has that teeth. When they go past to the bridge, there's a scene where this chubby guy is trying to get over there, and of course he's allowed there, and then the person mentions his teeth is good. Like that's that
Oh,
cameo.
I see. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Um, yeah. If you remember Inside Out, towards the end when they got the new console, and that's
Hmm.
the Mr. Pig from Toy Story. He's
Oh,
like,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, like when he's like, "Oh, here we go. Here's your new console." That's that character.
Yeah.
That's the actor.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. And then quickly, this one like running Easter egg they have. There's a number 8113. This number is like the dorm room for all the animations people that
Oh.
you see here. And there's a couple
Mhm.
there, and so it was really cool. Um, you see it first time in the record for La Cruz when Miguel was looking at it, and then there's one I think in the door in the
Yeah.
Land of the Dead somewhere. But yeah,
Oh, it's neat. You can pull
yeah,
those out. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So the Easter egg there, it's massive with this one. Oh, Pizza Planet, the truck from Toy Story. Quick, you see it very quick in the night, like it just pass.
Just
Is in
passes
this.
by.
Yeah, you see it right there. It's in this movie as well.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So it's great. But yeah, what other positives do you have in this movie? Do you have, well, which one we haven't discussed yet? Did you like about this movie?
I just, you know, it, I think it's just the fact that it's kind of a complete package. You have the music, you have the
Mm,
the the kind of the world building, as you said, behind it, but backing that up is a very real feeling about the fear of being forgotten and everything, the true death and everything.
yeah,
I think it's all fascinating put together. I think the scene where you watch the old man disappear
yeah,
when they're getting the guitar, I think that was a fantastic scene, and I think it really pushed forward exactly what it was. And it's not like that's a sad scene in the movie it's never fixed. You can't go
yeah,
back and fix it or anything. I think
yeah.
it gets the message across was a very
Yeah,
good scene, that one.
yeah, that one's great. I like the touch when Hector drinks the shot, and then you
Hmm.
see it flip it down, but you see the one not drink yet. Like it's a really good image. Uh,
Oh yeah.
how he pours for one for his friend, and then because like he's gonna be like that, if he
Hmm.
tries to put that picture for him before
Yeah.
he be forgotten. So
Hmm.
like, because that scene really gets you up to speed why Hector is desperate to go into the bridge,
Yeah.
and get his picture, up to whatever in his family. It's just way away telling you why Hector has this like urgent and stake for this, with Miguel to do it.
Yeah. I also love that Hector was still like, he wasn't begging for forgiveness or anything because, well, one, he knew that he hadn't done anything necessarily, like he hadn't done anything personally
Yes.
wrong, but he was still apologizing for the fact that he wasn't there. I think it's like the quality of that character and everything. It's a very good
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, like he knows he did the mistake not to return. You're right, and then I also like how he also, just like the family for Miguel. His the whole family. He's telling him family comes first.
Hmm.
And your ambitions comes second. But he didn't do it aggressively like some of the family members are doing.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that
Absolutely.
that yeah, that's why I appreciate that. And I want to mention the wife of the character, Mama Beita. That's what you call her. She's a great character. Like I understand where she's coming from, and
Yeah.
I like how
Strong, very strong character.
yeah, and I really like that. And I like how we discover she also had a passion of music.
Mm.
She sings, and I like how we have a bookend for that he again scenes again to help get Hector the photo, and I really dug that payoff.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah, and I like how the rekindle of their relationship was very acceptable, and I was like shocked about that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so do you have a favorite character out of those family? Like, I mean, like besides the main ones, like I love the what is it, the Miguel's grandma. I
Hmm.
really dug her. Like I love how she she hits people with the slippers. It's just like she's
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, she's very good. The favorite characters among them, besides the main ones, I feel like the great grandmother's honestly the best of the
mm,
bunch. Again,
yeah,
such a strong person, and not like, but you can also understand the complexity behind her resistance to a lot of these things.
yeah,
And you get more information as you go.
yeah. Oh my God, her just like the grandma, she used her shoe to smash things, and her smashing the computer was funny. You
Hmm.
laughed so hard with that one. That
Yeah.
one made me crack up this time around. I just love it. Um, man, the humor here was so funny. Like
Oh,
they took the mileage of the skeleton gags that you usually
hmm.
see, and it worked so well.
Right.
Like,
And it didn't
uh,
feel like it never got redundant. It never got, oh, just a typical skeleton. Like it was just good. It felt new and fresh and everything.
yeah,
Really well done.
yeah. My favorite recently now, we watching it was the was it the social worker, whatever. When he explains the rules, and like he was
Hmm.
sneezing because of Dante,
Yeah.
uh, the dog, and like is like, how are you sneezing because you don't have a nose? And then I like how he replied, "Well, I'm sneezing in this moment. It doesn't make sense, but here we are." Like I love that joke.
Right. Right. But here we are. Whatever. Just kind of ignoring those kind of world
Yeah.
breaking kind of a things. It very much reminded me of Beetlejuice, the secretary from Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Kind of
Oh my god.
overworked, like done with it, like whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God, I still like those. Yeah. Yeah. What else? The celebrity cameos that we see. Like, we got um, was it Frida?
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah.
The famous. Like, I love that detail. She was great in this movie.
She was
It's,
very good. Yeah. And I found it funny that they gave her such like a self-absorbed kind of personality to it. Too.
yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And yeah, there's a couple like famous Mexican ones here. Like, when they're in the lounge, there's one that's like a famous like caretaker for the Spanish launch from Mexico.
Mhm.
Yeah, like there's a couple here and there, but yeah, the Frida one is like the well-known one because like we all know her. It's because she has like a iconic look.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I like her spirit. Her spirit guy is a monkey of all things.
Yeah. It was
I
good.
like.
Such personality.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, monkeys have personality. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love how the monkey starts like seeing changing the colors and
Yes.
of the skin, and then it starts doing the flame out of the mouth. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God, that was a
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
gag.
That was good
Yeah.
too.
Oh my God. Oh, my favorite gag. I don't really. I laughed loud in the theater, and this security guard for the cruise fancy party. We
Hmm.
see this Mancho Libre wrestler, and he asked for him to have a picture. And I love the guy. He took his head off and then took the
Oh,
picture.
yes, yes, yes.
I don't know you laughed that hard. That
That
was
was
my
good.
favorite
That was a
joke.
good gag. Yeah,
Oh my God.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, let's we're talking positives. I want to get into like negatives. Do you have any negatives or nitpicks you have for this film? I'm kind of curious to get into that. Um
Well, why don't you go first? Because I'm trying to think of some. You know, it's been a bit.
okay, okay. So I like this is an animation movie, and the conceit of entry in the land of the dead is cool, right?
Mhm.
I I question why Miguel. Like, how does a human go there? Like, how does a human can go there if they're not dead? Like, how did Miguel can get into this land of the dead? Like,
That's a
that's
good point. There's something about taking the guitar, I guess. You know, it seems like that was just sort of what's it called? Deus ex machina. You know, just kind of like, nah,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
going now. You know, but
yeah.
it's like a curse almost, curse of taking something from the dead.
Oh, that's true. I wasn't thinking about that one. Yeah, I just because I forgot he has the picture of his great mother
Hmm.
because it got broken. The picture frame got broken, and I thought, oh, that makes sense why he can enter in to the land of the dead. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. But I it's just like when we see the flowers, the red orange flowers, that's like you put there for letting your ancestors or family enter into the living.
Right. Right.
Um, and you see it sparkle the light, and
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I see, like, I saw it, but then it's like, that's how you get into the land of the dead? It's like,
Right.
but I don't know.
It's probably just because they would have taken too much time in the movie, too much of a technicality for the children. You know, it's like, what's the now he's there. You know, that's what you need to know.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, I like if Miguel like maybe almost die, like it could have make sense. Like what do you call it? Like he dies just like in a few minutes, and then they were trying to do the heart respirator thing. Like that makes sense.
Right.
But I don't know. But I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, it's a cartoon. I mean, it's animation. You have to disbelieve everything.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I mean, this didn't bother me as
No.
much. Like Cars, like Cars is just like when you have something that weird. If they start to open up these things, that's where I starting to question your world building a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least Cars, it's not like they're necessarily trying to build the most cohesive, logical reality.
No, no.
Yeah.
I um
It's a little more important when they are people,
yeah,
when they look like people.
yeah, like I mean, like I can disbelieve toys coming to life. Like I can
Yeah,
disbelieve, like like talking animals, but like I don't know, cars take it too far because they like they show you the mechanics of it. Like you see a bathroom. I'm like, how the hell the
right, right.
cars
How does this happen?
yeah.
Like, this could just be people and not cars. So why are they cars?
Yeah. Well, in this movie, they actually did something here that I appreciate. They mentioned they don't have restrooms. I don't know you caught
Oh,
that line.
right. Yeah, yes, I did.
When Miguel say I need to go to the restroom, and then the guy,
We
the
don't have
social
any.
worker, yeah, say uh you have does the kid know we don't have restrooms?
Hmm.
And I like that compared to the cars, like this movie handles it better.
Right. Also with humor,
Yeah,
handles it with humor.
yeah. Oh my god, the cars humor are awful. Like because they do the very typical humor, or like in the first one, you got this Arnold Schwarzenegger car. That's the
Yeah,
governor. Like
yeah,
right there, you're dating yourself in the film.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. What else do you have negatives? Did you come up one nitpicks? Um,
I really didn't have anything. It was very enjoyable to me.
okay,
Very enjoyable
okay.
movie.
Yeah, it's really good. This movie runs pretty good. Hold on, like it's yeah, it's like 105 minutes, and it gets everything like in and
All
out.
wrapped up. There's no dull moment in it, really.
Yeah, yeah, which is good because I mean it's pretty fast paced, but like you get slow moments to to get the impact of the emotions that you're trying to get for the scene, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of music, I really like the score here. I think
Hmm.
the score does a really good job of capturing the Mexican heritage, and I this is Michael Giacchino. He's like a regular Pixar person who did the Incredibles and Up score.
Yeah.
This is good for him. I think he did a good job with this.
It was very good integration of those things, and also like letting the music that's within the film itself kind of flow as well.
Yeah, I agreed.
Makes things bad.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed. Um, but yeah, I guess what else I gotta mention? That's I did appreciate the opening, with the Disney logo before the Pixar. I like how they changed the Disney
Hmm.
music to the Mexican. To
Yes.
like, I didn't catch that. I actually really liked that one. That was really cool. They did
Yeah, it
that.
was just a little blooper kind of thing.
Yeah,
Easter egg.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was cool when the Disney castle comes up, and then you hear the Mexican music coming out, but it's the rendition of Disney music opening
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
usually hear, which is good. Um, what else? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, I mean, this is a nitpick, but Miguel loses his coat in the Land of the Dead. Like,
It just disappeared.
yeah, when I was watching this, I was like, he because um, La Cruz takes it from him when they were in the stadium, and then because he's grabbing the kid to stop him, and then of course the fight is over and all that. He comes back from the land of dead, then you see him not wearing his jacket. So like I don't know, like that for
Jacket's
me.
gone. Jacket's gone. It's in the land of the dead forever.
Yeah, I mean, it asks more question to me: is the land of dead a real thing? Is it an actual dimension?
It sounds like it. It sounds like that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That broke my mind when I saw it just
That's the
now. I
one
was like,
thing. That's the you left the movie theater like what the hell is going on here?
well, I wasn't thinking in the theater, but like this reviewing, like this rewatch, I was like, huh. okay, he loses his jacket. I don't know. It's just, I mean, they're not dead, but it's just we don't see them. They're like basically ghosts.
Or maybe it's leaving room for a sequel.
Oh, that's true. Um,
The jacket story.
Jack story. No, no, I don't want to. Okay, let's go too far. You know, um, that'd be funny. They make a story about Jack, and then it's like like a
It's
what
its
is
own
it?
entity.
Yeah, on Anthony and talks and has a name. Um, yeah, I so are you like here's the thing. Pixar made sequels to movies that like you are not expecting to have a sequel. Toy Story is a good example of that, and their sequels are good. I don't have a problem with that. Same thing with the Incredibles. The Incredibles is a superhero thing. Like you expect a sequel. I don't have a problem to have Coco have a sequel. I think there's things you could do about it. Like you can see like an older Miguel like teaching his family about memories and not to be forgotten, or a extension of the themes that we talked about in the first film into a more logical place that we can take in the sequel. Like, and just the world building, you can take it anywhere you want. Like there's other festivals and festivities and Mexican culture you can do for
Oh,
this
absolutely.
universe. You know,
But it's there's room for one, but you ask yourself why open it up again? I feel like they
right?
wrapped this story up probably more tightly than they have a lot of the other ones.
Mm,
And you could open it up to have another one. It'd have to be worthwhile, like a worthwhile story to delve back into it, because you don't want to open something back up and then close it and leave something, like forget to put something back in the box. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's a risky move, and you just ask yourself why, because it feels like a very good packaged up movie. You know, you don't
yeah,
have
no,
to have a sequel.
no. I
Yeah.
near the eye, but I say that with Toy Story. Like the first film is a great standalone film, but the sequel, like actually
Took
justify
a,
it.
took a
Toy
completely different turn.
Yeah, but like it expand Woody's background more, and like that, and then I don't mind the other films. That they had a sequel recently, like Monster University. Like I thought that was a good way to expand the universe
Right.
more, and like see the relationship between Mike and Sully, how they became friends.
Hmm.
There's stories to do. It's just like the
You
cars.
ask yourself, like, you have to ask yourself why. Like, what is
Mhm.
it that you want to know more about? I don't know if anyone ever sat down and really said. I don't think the question that comes is what else is in Woody's backstory. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's what can we come out with that's sure to make a hit.
Yeah.
I think it's less about the story and more about, is there room in the story to have another movie so we can make more money? That's
Well,
my opinion. I don't
that's
think I don't like it's different from, say, like Star Wars. It's like, okay, who's this Darth Vader guy?
mhm,
What's going on? They left the little details of a story in there between him and Obi-Wan, so what's going on there?
right.
And then you can have a whole thing explaining it. I don't
Yeah.
think there was anything in Toy Story that made anyone go, I wonder if,
Mm,
like, Woody was a massive toy franchise. you know,
yeah.
no
Yeah.
one wondered that. And I think
Yeah.
in order for a sequel to be more of a, I'm legitimately curious about this, you have to have something to grab onto. Is
Mm.
there a character that intrigued you in Coco that makes you want to go back to the world rather than just because they can make money off of it?
That's true. No, no, I understand where you're coming from. I think the Toy Story films, I will defend that because I think they justify that because because Woody is like a product, like because in the first one, like Toy Story, like Buzz coming into Andy's life is like the example of in the 1950s, westerns. were kind of fading out. And guess what? The new trend was sci-fi,
Right.
and that was the thing about like toys come and go, and that's what I think made the first one interesting. And then with the second film, it was cool because some of these toys, like for me, I didn't ever knew that Mr. Potato Head is this popular thing. I thought the Toy Story films made that up, but I didn't know it was like a real thing in
Hmm.
real life. And like because you got those fancy toys that are like part of this pop culture thing you don't know. That's why it was cool to see that in Toy Story 2. And
Well,
it, oh,
it's
I'm sorry.
you can justify, like, the sequel can justify itself. If it doesn't, then you're kind of just left sitting there wondering, why is there a sequel? But
Mm,
like, is it a justification that comes from, we're making a sequel, we have to find a reason for this to make sense? Or
mhm.
is it some, like, after watching Toy Story 1 for the first time, months later, like, while talking about Toy Story, did you ever wonder, I wonder if Woody is a larger franchise with other characters,
Yeah,
or what's Woody's backstory? I don't know if people sat on their couch months after watching Toy Story and wondered what Woody's backstory is. You
yeah.
know, I
Um,
think,
yeah. I see what you're saying. That's not the thing that makes Toy Story interesting. Like, the themes of not leaving a toy behind. The how you say it, the um toys being so awesome. Your owner is all those the themes that
Mhm,
you're gonna touch in the toy
mhm,
stuff. That was the next actual thing as a sequel to discuss, which they do. And then they bring in these other toy things that like you don't see, like like the Wayne Knight's character, the
right.
owl character, where he's this collectible person that collects this memorabilia, right?
Hmm.
And then he founds, Woody, and this is part of this like collection. He could be famous and all that. Like you see that in real life, you know. And then like there's like a lot of relationship expansion, like how there, this toy is special to this kid, like we have one toy that we like the most, and we had
Hmm.
a special connection, and we saw that more expanded upon in the sequel. And Buzz and Woody's relationship got more expanded upon, after having been, because the first film was like a great buddy cop like film. Here you get the extension that Buzz is now the wise leader, just like Woody is, and he of course reminds Woody like you are a toy, so like there's Toy Story 2 expands so much of what was established in the first film, and established these new themes and discussions that were like logical to do in the sequel.
Well,
Where
it's logical to do in a sequel, but why is there a sequel?
oh, interesting. Okay, I you
If
know
you
I'm
have a sequel, that's what you had to do. If you
yeah
had a sequel, but where does the question, there should be a sequel, come from? Like, where does
okay.
it originate?
Well, it's
Like, when you're sitting mulling over Coco, what makes you say, if someone said it, if someone said there should be a sequel,
well for
why
me,
why would they say there should be a sequel rather than it doesn't really matter?
I if it would say it doesn't matter if you don't have no new ideas. Toy Story
Mhm.
2 had new ideas, and
Absolutely.
with Coco, I think you can do that. With If you do the luxury thing, have an older Miguel expand, like have him have his own family, and how he can teach his family traditions, but also his point of view of what a family should be. You
But
know, how,
you can do that, but the
yeah,
question is why? What
why?
is it? Why would you do it? Why would you choose to open up something that is already there
Mhm,
rather than make something new? Now, there's reasons that you could do that. It could be very meaningful to someone, to the story developer in particular. It's like, I really like that movie, and I think there's another story that I'd like to tell that I think these characters can help tell. That's a good reason to do it. I feel like
mhm.
that's your answer to why, if there is one. Or it's, we need to make more money, and I think that we can make a hit with this one. You know, it's
I
it's
see.
where, and as a viewer,
Hmm.
the why is different. It's why is there a sequel? In Star Wars, it's because you need further explanation of something in order to understand what you already saw a little bit better. Not that the what you
Hmm.
saw was incomplete. It's just there's another story in there that was brought up that wasn't really told, and you're kind
Hmm.
of curious about it. Uh, you
Okay.
know, but when it comes to, well, there's more that can be told in the Toy Story universe or in the Coco universe. But the question is, why does it have to be in this universe rather than another one? Why
I
can't you
see.
come up with a new one? What is it
Okay.
about this one that obligates, requires it? You know?
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned Star Wars, and I think it'd be a good way for me to connect the why. For my why is character development. There's still things for our protagonists to learn that they maybe didn't learn in the first film. Remember, in Star Wars, you got Luke Skywalker wants to become a Jedi, and like he wants to get out the world more, right?
Hmm.
So he got that in the first film. He got out of the world, but he had to learn to become mature, which we didn't see that in the first film because he was dealing with these other things. When
Hmm.
Empire Strikes Back, you got the stuff where okay, Luke is already part of the rebellion now. He's a hero, but he hasn't matured yet, and he hasn't yet become a Jedi yet because he doesn't know yet he's the chosen one, as
Hmm.
we learn a little bit towards the end of Empire Strikes Back with Yoda having that discussion with Obi-Wan, right? So that sets up another potential sequel, which Return to Jedi pays off. That like he has to fight Vader, because that's his destiny, right?
Hmm.
With Toy Story, like Woody, was very selfish in the first film, right? He was thinking about himself in the because of Buzz and how he arrived. Say
Hmm.
it flip flops in the sequel. He is a little more open. He's having Buzz be his second partner. He's still doing his business to keep the toys safe, and you know
Hmm.
make Andy, his owner, happy, right?
Yeah.
But then he gets damaged, with his arm, and then there's a question of is he going to continue as this toy because he could easily be being thrown out and not be loved. That's the thing.
Hmm.
He's worried that he could become obsolete. But when he meets Jesse and those crew, he finds this new purpose. He can be loved in a cage, basically. And like he also like with the Jesse and the whole thing, he started to become more selfish again. And that's why when Buzz sees him, he tries to remind him that you are a toy,
Right.
and then of course Woody throws back at Buzz like, how long I'll be his toy, and that's the debate, which we get back to Toy Story 3 when Andy's grown up. Like
Hmm.
that's the reason why we come back is because there's still development with these characters. And for me, with Coco, Miguel still needs to learn how to become, a better man and be a good father to his family, or like be a good son to the family, you know. So there is a why there, you know. And also, Toy Story 2 came out 5 years from the first film, so I never saw that as a cash grab,
Hmm.
like Cars 2, where that for me, when you don't have a why, is because you don't have any more character development with your main character. Because
Hmm.
Cars 2 did not further develop Steve McQueen in that film. And that's where I will say that's cash grab. Where I think Coco and especially the Toy Story series, they had character development for the main titular character, you know, to grow and learn as a better person, So
Hmm.
that's where my why is why we got more of these, and why we should get a sequel for this particular film. So and it's also like the second why is artificial for me, it's superficial. The superficial why is that you want to expand more of the universe because there's more to do. Like in Star Wars, we learn more about bounty hunters. We learn more cities are out there, besides the main ones we know, and like there's both sides we that are in the rebellion, but also in the empire,
Mhm.
and creatures we haven't seen that are dangerous, and so that's the point of why you want to come back. And I think you need to have those two whys for me to say this is actually a reason you go to sequel. Because 9 out of 10, when we get a sequel, it just doesn't have a reason to be here. They just repeat the same thing like Ghostbusters 2, or they like just go in left field where I just never expected, and it's just awful. So,
Mhm.
but it's just depend on the creative team. I feel like I trust this creative team for
Yeah,
Coco.
no, they've
Okay.
always been good at it. They find good stories to keep telling.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm curious. Do you like the Toy Story 2? Or I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I wouldn't call it a bad movie.
Okay, okay. I mean, well, what's your favorite film in the Toy Story series? I just want to. Uh, I mean, I
Uh,
mean, there's four.
I haven't seen the fourth one, so that's off the list.
Oh,
Probably the first one, just because it's. I mean, not only I have nostalgia, but it's also it sets the tone. It's the tone. It's the start of it all, and I think that's a good story there.
hmm, okay.
The other ones are
Uh,
good, but it's kind of dependent on that original one, that original good story.
yeah. Um, I'll
Not
tell
in the
you.
way that like Empire Strikes Back is dependent on A New Hope. That's more of like a chronological,
Mm,
dependency, which is not what I'm talking about. It's sort of, I mean, if we're talking about similar themes being kind of developed and continued throughout the Toy Story movies, I think the first one is still a very good one.
mm, yeah, I disagree. Toy Story 2 doesn't rely on the first film. I think um for me, Toy Story 3 relies too much on Toy Story 2.
Hmm.
Um, whenever you get to watch that, because Toy Story 2, like there's mentions of the first film. Well, not really. Like it's a new thing. It already established the universe. It's just like we're starting off new stuff. We see Buzz growing popularity with a game, and then there's new set of Buzz Lightyear toys with a belt. Like
Uh-huh.
it doesn't go back too much on the first film. The only thing that's specifically in the first film is this mentions like the L barn was it L barn farm toys. It was mentioned in the first film, but it was in the TV, and here we see it, and we see it fully. So that's I mean, and then that's just the conversation with the relation and all that,
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, we should discuss sequels, which ones are the good ones, and then which ones are the bad ones, because that's
Sounds good.
the whole topic.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Anything else to talk about Coco? I mean, I love this movie. It's
I think it was just very good quality
yeah,
overall. Would recommend.
yeah. I highly recommend this. This is one of the best Pixar films ever. I haven't seen their new ones yet. I need to get into that because
Hmm.
I really like some of the directors. And so, but yeah. So me and John will be back again for another spectacular podcast soon.
Hmm.
We'll discuss what topic we'll do. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I I'm a little worried about that, but whatever. Um, I mean, I'll take anger management and Happy Gilmore again to discuss, and don't talk about, oh my god, what's the worst Adam Sandler film? Oh my god,
We
what's
could
the
dig
worst one?
into it. We could dig into it. Rank
Oh
them.
my oh my god, there's too many of them. I mean, oh my god. Anyway, thank you, John, for joining me. This was a great Thanksgiving celebration for each other, right?
Thank, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I really enjoy having you and discussing movies. It's been a blast.
Hmm.
Just love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you everyone for listening to this podcast when it's going to be released. And of course, happy Thanksgiving. And as always, have a good weekend. Bye.